Hi everyone, Charlene Renaud today, and this is the Team Precious Life Stuff Show. And I have a very special guest with us today. His name is Jaime Medina from Tracy, California. Hello, Jamie.
Hey, how's it going?
Great, it's great. Everything's going well. And today our show is called Unleash Your Inner Warrior. So, healing and thriving from trauma and life challenges. Every day we face life challenges, especially with what we've been going through in the last few months with the COVID, insecurity, jobs, and now a lot of things happening right now in the
Oh,
US.
yeah.
Huge things. So, we're going to chat about that. But just an introduction about Jamie. Jamie is the founder of Fixed Inc. It's a veteran service organization, and he's dedicated his life to helping American veterans fighting through physical and mental obstacles such as PTSD, self-medication, anger management, isolation, survivor's guilt, and problematic thinking. Jamie served in the U.S. Air Force, and he was a technical sergeant, and he served with distinction in one of the most dangerous career fields within the U.S. military for over a decade. And this earned him 22 medals, including Bronze Stars medals, multiple Army and Air Force Commendation Awards with Valor, Air Force and Army combat badges accompanied by numerous decorations through 16 years of service. And what really impresses me about Jamie is his resiliency. And through everything that he has gone through in his life and coming back from the military and, coming into a normal civilian life. And I know what that's all about because I served in policing for 25 years. Certainly not to the level that you have served in the military. It's totally different. But it's just, you see so many things that the average person does not see and experience. So you share a bit about your past. And, but just before we get started, I want to talk about what's happening before we get into our topic today. But
Sure.
what you were sharing with me before we went on air about all the rioting and everything going on in the U.S. And my heart goes out to everyone there. And to everyone in the world that is facing racism. And in my book, The Pinata Theory, I talk about our First Nations in Canada and the African American people in the U.S. that have gone through a lot of trauma and racism. So I don't believe in it, and hopefully justice is served and that we do what is best for everyone without creating more damage, right? So go
Well,
ahead,
exactly.
Jamie. Go
What
ahead,
was that?
Jamie. Yeah.
Oh, well, you hit on it. Like you said, you don't believe in racism, and neither do I. And actually, recently on Facebook, I posted a little rant, I guess, about how in my world racism doesn't exist. And I always catch a lot of heat from that family members or friends like, what do you mean racism doesn't exist? Of course it does. Well, I guess I know it does. However, they weren't listening to me. I said, in my world, my little tiny little world that I occupy here in the universe, racism doesn't exist. What I mean by that is, A, I don't put up with it. B, if I see it, then I will do everything that I can to stomp it out. If it's around me, right? So if I'm at a
Right.
gas station or if I'm in the street, if I'm wherever I may be, if I see it, I'll attack that. And I'll break up if there's any type of altercation or if I see somebody belittling somebody else, I will intervene. It's not my business to. Uh, well, I guess it is kind of my business too. I think it's everybody's business too. If you see something wrong that's blatantly obviously wrong, do something about it.
Exactly.
Don't leave this person out there. So when I say racism doesn't exist in my world, it doesn't, because I will do my best to stomp it out wherever I see it, right? So that's what I mean by saying that. Now, obviously, yes, there's still racism. There always will be. There's prejudices. There always will be. And then, like right now, what's going on in the U.S. Well, you had that cop murder that individual. Obviously, he was wrong. Obviously, that technique. No, you know, as law enforcement, and I was also prior law enforcement. You use techniques, compliance techniques. Someone's fighting you, or you want to put them at a position of disadvantage. You have your use of force continuum, right? Like you always kind of want to stay one above what the individual that you're trying to get to follow. Your direct order, or you're trying to mitigate a situation, whatever it may be, right? It's a very dynamic world that you and I both come from. I bet at 500 out of 500 times that technique that officer used worked. This time it didn't. So, it was up to him. He was the one in control, and he wears a badge that we entrust him to make these decisions on our behalf, right, to serve and protect. But in my opinion, from what I can see, he abused that, and he went way above what was necessary in that specific situation, in my opinion. Right. Now, a court of law will figure this out, and I believe, especially here in the United States, all police officers, judges, your DAs, everyone, they want the best for you. Like I've been in trouble before as a youth, as juvenile. I served time in a juvenile institution when I was 14, 15 years old. Being a little punk kid, that straightened me out, obviously. But learning throughout the years that they want the best for you. They really do want the best for you. I mean, when they talk about systemic racism, I don't. Maybe it's just because I don't want to believe it, or I'm being naive. But I don't think it's there. I think they want the best for you. Now, there's always going to be those pockets of individuals, bad actors, bad apples, that ruin it for the rest of us. Like right now, with all the rioting and the murders, how many people have been murdered since Mr. Floyd was murdered? Like 6, 7 people, I want to say, from my last count of last night. Every city's on fire. All the looting and the majority of the people doing it are African American. Okay, so do you think that this is actually going to help things? Is this going to help racial division, racial divides? If anything, you just created a Grand Canyon-sized divide by doing this, right? So bad actors, bad apples. Now, am I going to blame everyone, with darker skin? I mean, today, God, I must have put on three shades of darker skin because I was out in the sun earlier. So do I think people are going to blame me or make me a criminal because of what others are doing out there in the streets? No, you can't generalize like that. And I think a lot of people are going to be doing that because of what's happening. It's terrible. It just time out, stop. It just stop. Let the in my opinion, perfect world, what I would like to see is let the process happen, right? I mean, they're already charging these cops with murder. I mean, straight murder. They might get the death penalty, who knows, right? But you don't go and execute business owners or kids, women, children. I mean, old, elderly. I mean, you just don't do that. You're acting like a savage animal, like out of control maniac. What these people are doing, and it's terrible. The example you're setting is profoundly a broken one. It's sad. It's horribly sad.
Yeah, it's better to have a peaceful resolution. We're all angry about what happened to this man, and because I was trained in self-defense and defensive tactics. We would put our knee onto the shoulder behind and have the arm behind the back, and if the person tries to move, you just put their wrist back in the opposite direction.
Compliance technique.
And that they don't go anywhere. So we never would put our knee on a person's neck for sure. No, but anyways, it's really, really tragic, and it's horrible, especially for all the families involved. And
absolutely.
Yeah. So, a man lost his life for no reason. And I hope, and we always have to remember our children are watching, and what kind of example do we give our kids on the next generation? And listen. And they listen.
They're watching, listening, to even my complaining, right? And I'm sure I'm not saying the best things all the time. And my son's here. He just happened to be asleep because I took him on a 10-mile walk the other day.
Oh, good.
Or yesterday, rather. He's wiped out. But yeah, I can be voicing. You have to be cognizant, right, about voicing, our opinions on things. I mean, I'm sure I've said some probably things that I regret in the last couple of days due to this. But I have to be cognizant of that because, we're all listening, we're all seeing what we're doing. And it just boils down to every day just try and be a better person, a little better than yesterday. That's my philosophy, on life, what I try to preach to clients and the youth and people that I'm mentoring and around.
is be the example.
Yeah, it's difficult, isn't it?
It is. Sometimes we respond before we think, then if you can recognize that, at that opportunity, I could have made a better decision. But it's
Absolutely.
always about being mindful
Absolutely.
and connecting when that thought drops into your head, and then you automatically say, "How do I manage that?"
Yeah, absolutely.
So, yeah, so share with us more about your life experience and how it led you to be a leader in helping veterans in the U.S. and all about your journey.
You got it. I think it started really young age for me. I was really involved in youth sports as a kid. Over here we have kind of the Pee Wee football, league, and I got involved in like fourth grade playing football. So I was learning about team sports, and I learned about teamwork, and the value of hard work. And my father and my grandfather both, hardworking men. I was fortunate and lucky, and my mother is super successful. My grandmother. I had a very fortunate life that everybody who had an influence that will influence me all were really good people who worked really hard and took pride in what they did. Obviously that built within me. And I talked about I did get in trouble as a kid, just just thinking I was untouchable or that nothing could touch me. But hey, I got a wake up call
Yeah.
really quick, and I realized that I do not want to be here, right? So I just definitely turned around, and when I ended up joining the military after high school, I ended up going into security forces, which is military police for the Air Force. Went all over the world, spent time in Turkey and Saudi Arabia. I became a nuclear cop, working around nuclear weapons and components. That was interesting. I'm not glowing or anything at night, but it was pretty interesting to do that. And then, which led to me getting a job with the U.S. Department of Energy. I ended up working with let's see, UC Berkeley out there out here in California, and Los Alamos Lab in New Mexico. So I did a lot of physical protection with them. And then I stayed in the Air National Guard. I ended up actually transferring to Special Forces in the Air Force after 9/11. I've always kind of been that person like, I want to do more, like I could probably add to more to the fight or use me or I send me. But I definitely got everything that I asked for when I did that. After completing the training that the Air Force provides you to call in airstrikes and to kind of control the battle. Like my job was on the battlefield was to know everything that the friendlies are doing or like that coalition forces are doing, and then trying to anticipate where the enemy is going to be so we could strike them, to clear an objective or whatever it may be, whatever the mission was. I was in a very unique position to be part of the planning and execution of that with my job in the Air Force. Excuse me. And so I ended up doing 6 combat deployments. I've been to Iraq once. I did a year there. And in between deployments, I probably was home for maybe in time between 3 to 6 months. So my tempo, by choice, a lot of it was by choice. My tempo was very, very fast, furious, dynamic. 1 year in Iraq. I did 4 tours in Afghanistan. I did 1 in Africa.
Wow.
Yeah, kind of been around the block a little bit. The hooks were in me per se. It just became my life. I didn't care about family life anymore. I was married, right? I talked to my son earlier. All that fell by the wayside. What was important to me was the fight and my team and the brotherhood. And I felt guilty every time I was home. I would feel guilty about not being out there as the war progressed, right? Just a true believer in my country and patriotism. I can admit to you that along the way, sometimes, like say after one deployment, this isn't worth it. What am I doing? I want out. And then like another one would happen, and all right, now I'm patriotic again. I went through a lot of ups and downs along the way.
Right. Yeah.
And actually, this moment right now, with just the unrest, and people just acting like complete, in my opinion, complete idiots. Acting like idiots, smashing, looting. That's not going to bring this man back. That's not going to preserve the memory of this individual. I'm looking at some of that and I'm thinking, man, it wasn't worth it. It wasn't worth it. Especially here, we want to believe that our service means something, right? Like I'm I'm sacrificing serving for you, right? For the others, my fellow citizens, and looking at what's happening, like I, I know better, but a lot of the calls that we're getting is like it wasn't worth it. It wasn't worth it. Like screw these people, like what the f is going on? And it's sad, that makes people defenders. That makes or creates it creates excuse me, a situation where people feel like it wasn't worth it, right? So then you're looking at the sacrifices that I put into it. It wasn't worth it, and then like I've had 2 suicidal interventions in the last couple of days, right, with veterans that just forget about it. Either they want to commit homicides themselves or commit suicide because of what's going on. And like there's such a domino effect that people don't realize. You got these individuals that just love the country, they love their fellow man, they love the citizens, and they're looking at what's happening, thinking, "Gosh, I did so my friends died for nothing. I put that time in for nothing." And it's I get these calls, and it's kind of up to me to put things back in perspective. Hey, man, like a lot of this is are rights. And people have the right to protest. They have the right to demonstrate, not the right to commit outward horrible crimes and murder, right? I mean, that's obviously, and I'm not sure they will be prosecuted for it, but you just have to kind of put it in perspective. You did what you did because you believed in the cause. So it's gone, it's done. You did it. Be proud of that service. Whatever it may be, happening right now. But yeah, it's really emotional. I mean, I'm emotional too about it, obviously.
Yes.
But I need to also keep my head, keep my own personal perspective, and it takes my own mental coaching, to keep my eye on the ball and be that example. I mean, I'm human too. I have those thoughts and they get angry too. But if I'm out there acting like a jackass, that's not going to help. That's going to make things 100 times worse. Because people look to me for that.
Yeah, exactly. So this the rioting and everything is really triggering a lot of pain within veterans. And
Well, every
because
community,
you're saying that we fought for the freedom of this country, we put our lives on the line, and here we're at war at home. Is that basically what I'm
yes,
hearing?
absolutely.
Yeah.
Like, and when this is happening, even with me, I'm thinking, oh my God, what's going on? Like, I've seen different things happening, and it's like, well, okay, there must be some kind of game plan, or you start thinking of these crazy conspiracy theories, and which, who knows? Maybe some of it's true, maybe not. I don't know. I mean, but I do know what a threat looks like, and I do know how to recognize that, and pretty much everything that's happening, and as it's progressing, I called it out like weeks ago. I'm like, oh, watch this gonna happen, that's gonna happen, that's gonna happen, and it's happening. And that's just threat analysis, and knowing how to read the crowd.
Right, but that's basically part of your DNA now, Jamie, right? Because
Yes.
you've gone to war, you've served, in the military, had your life on the line, you've been all over the world, and just like a police officer, you're trained to jump in and help, That's part of your automatic trigger, right? So now you're standing back and you're watching all this unfold. So it's definitely has plays havoc on your the willingness to jump in and do everything, and the disappointment that
Yeah,
here we
and the
are.
feeling of helplessness.
Helplessness, because this is our country, these are our people, and we should be working together for the best of everyone and to have freedom, and we have the freedom, so why aren't we embracing it and celebrating cultural diversity and learning about different ethnic groups? So that's what I believe in, is that we could end all this if we would just be more open. And like I just came out with my Precious Pinata song, right?
Yeah.
And it's the first words are one world, one race. Share the world's open space. Because if we would love one another, we wouldn't be dealing with all this stuff right now. And why people see color when they look at a person. I have many friends of different colors. They are human beings. We're all part of the human race. And
exactly.
it's just
The human race.
yes, we're the human race, and you know what it is I talk about in my book, The Pinata Theory, is depending on where you're born, So your pinata is your shell, your physical, and then your subconscious mind, or your mind, you absorb all these, experiences since you're a baby, right? So you go to school, you're in a certain community, you have a certain culture, you have a certain religion, you live in a certain part of the world. So all these things basically start defining who you are and what you believe to be true, right? So, and then if somebody in your family would say negative things about a different religion or something negative about a different culture, then you believe that to be true. So
Yeah,
it's
absolutely.
very important what we pass on to the next generation. And I hope the younger people of today, being more educated, the next,
And
more
informed, so much more informed. Yeah.
yes, and they're more globally connected than we ever were. And then and we have these generational belief systems that evolve as humanity evolves towards I call it to a higher light. So you're more spiritual versus egotistical, controlling. A lot of
Yeah.
things are grounded in control or in money, right? Or power, all these things. So that's the root of all evil, really, is
Yo.
that, yeah. Okay, so
Yeah.
Jamie, I'd love for you to share with us, like, how you're going to share today things that we can, with all this stuff going on around us, how do we keep sane? How do we keep focused? Go into all this negativity swirling around. What tools can we use?
Tools. I'm glad you brought that up. So our smartphone, right? Cell phones or iPads, whatever. These are our tools. We're not its tool, right?
I
So
like
there's a
that.
way to. What I've done personally, just to keep my own sanity, is I went to, like, say, my iPhone or whatever it is, 11, 12, whatever it is this year. I said a new one. Like, so I go to where it says notifications, and I turn them all off. Even I turn my text messages, my phones, I turn them all off, right? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And I do that because I don't need to be reacting to it, right? Like, I'm busy, I have a lot of things going on during the day, I don't need the distractions. So I would check it when I'm free to check it. Not, I could be working on something, everyone that I seem to be in contact with, their attention span is like about that big, right? Because they're so used to being interrupted. So go to your notifications, turn them off. Like,
Yeah.
check it when it's at your convenience.
Right.
Don't be at its convenience and beck and call. So that's my own personal thing that I've been doing, that I've done for the last couple of years.
I love that
and,
because
and it
we're
works.
so fixated on devices. It's sickening. I was
Oh.
trying to do a share on Facebook. That's why I was looking down, but we'll have to share later because we've lost that human connection through devices.
There you go. There you go. Yeah, human connection. Yeah, exactly. And so I start there. Okay, like for me, that's what I've done over the past year, and it is I've been able to concentrate more. I've been able to be more focused on what's going on in the moment. Not hold on, or talking as I'm texting. Like, you're not paying attention to anybody. It's crazy. And what's interesting is when you do that, your world around you is gonna apply pressure and come down on you. Hey, why didn't you respond to my text? What? And see it. And they're like, well, that's impossible. How did you not see it? Well, I turn all my notifications off, and I'll get to it when I get to it.
I love that.
And,
I think the whole world should operate like that because we're almost like it's addiction. It's your next
thank you.
buzz, your next high, because you get the like, you get the this, you get the that, and it's like
The dopamine hit.
distraction. Yeah, the dopamine. Yeah.
Yeah. So number one, that's what I've done. And number two, I would say, personally, I do a lot of mental coaching, right? Like the person that hangs out in your head, the judgmental, the one that tells you you're not doing well enough, the one that's saying you didn't meet the standards that nobody put on you, but you know what I mean? For some reason you feel like you're failing because you're not doing some crazy standard, or whatever it may be. The person inside your head, we would not hang out with that person. I wouldn't. This person is the worst person ever. So I'm constantly telling them, shut up, go away. I mean, let me get through my day, or let me do what I believe is right, without the judgment of our own selves in our head, we would not hang out with that person. I guarantee it. But we're stuck with them, right? Or her.
Yeah,
We're stuck with
you're
them.
stuck with them. That's right.
So
You got to start talking to yourself, Jamie. Am I stuck with you? Yes, you are stuck with me.
and I do, I just do it. Now I do it internally instead of being a big coffee shop. Shut up! There's nobody there.
Yeah.
But yeah, so talk to yourself. Mentally coaching yourself to hey, what you're doing is good. Like you're fine. Whatever the situation is, you're good. And don't beat yourself up. Give yourself credit. If constantly you're trying to do better every day, guess what? Trying's doing it. You're doing it already. Give yourself a pat on the back, and give yourself a break once in a while. So the cell phone thing, that's your tool. Internally talking to yourself and letting yourself know, hey, yeah, I am a good person. I'm hooking and jabbing, and I'm making headway and being a better person and helping out my fellow neighbor and the person next to me. I'm not looting, and or committing crimes. So that's what I do. Constantly coach myself, and also some of the tools. Like if you're in a situation where actually, I cut to the chase. Like if I'm in a situation that's bringing me stress or anxiety, I'm out. Like I hey, time out. I need to take a walk, or I need to go outside and roll around the grass, or I need to get out.
Go connect with Mother Earth. That'll ground you every time.
Yeah, I bolt. I'm out. So but I will come back and readdress. Right? If I feel myself getting heated, or if we're at a stalemate, time out. We can readdress this later, right? When cooler heads prevail, right? So I do that, as well. And then also what I do is I ask people, like say mentors of mine or real good friends that I trust. I will ask them, hey, what's your opinion on this? Like, is what I'm seeing really happening, or is it, or am I exaggerating, right? Am I minimizing? What am I doing here? Is what I'm seeing and really happening? Because a lot of times, no. And I'll admit it, that I find myself in that situation, and then that which could amplify and blow up, in your face. A lot of times, just take a time out, take a breather, and for somebody you trust that is that mentor to you. I mean, we all have them, right? Well, we definitely should have them. Bring it to their attention. Hey, what do you think of this? And then to get some of that feedback, clean your ears out a little bit and listen. So that's what I do. What about you?
Well, since this COVID thing has started, like it's 24/7 rolling on the TV, right?
Oh, looping everything. Oh yeah.
Yeah, and it's negative, and you really just turn the TV off and, do something that's relaxing, go for a walk in nature, read a good book. You can, FaceTime with somebody, somebody long distance, like I have my family in Germany. And there's a million things I can do than to sit here, than to worry every day, because we can worry about the things that are yet to come, or,
or may never come.
Yeah, so I'm going to read a few things from the list about problematic thinking and some of the things that we can do in the head. So there's filtering. Do you remember what that one was, Jamie?
I don't have it in front of me.
Okay, you take the negative details and magnify them while filtering out all positive aspects of a situation. So what does that mean? You're just doing what? Looking
once again, you're creating something that's not there. You're looking at the negative, right? Because that's what we're taught through news, through media, through what you tell yourself. Good enough. I'm not doing good enough. I'm not, maybe they don't like me, right?
Yeah, exactly. Mostly the news is bad news for the most part, right?
And there is good news out there.
There is. So we need to make more good news stories. That's what we need to do. So there's also polarized thinking. Things are black or white, good or bad.
Yeah, exactly. And the world doesn't work like that, right? It's not good or bad, that's it. I mean, there's circumstances and situations that, add and lead to what happened, or to lead to that situation.
Yeah. So you said today, catastrophizing.
Okay. Yeah, that I'm guilty. I'm guilty of that one probably about 100 times today. Just seeing the demonstrations and the marches. Actually, I was a little late getting here to my house. I was at the office earlier. I had a couple counseling sessions that we did today, and another intervention. And then they shut down the main thoroughfare here in my city. And there's thousands of people out there, and I'm thinking, yep, you're gonna loot, yep, you're gonna break those windows, yep, there's gonna be, I immediately started thinking that. Guess what? It was 100% peaceful, not an issue whatsoever.
Well, that's good for the people of Tracy, California.
Absolutely, yeah.
Absolutely.
But I went there. I went there immediately,
Yeah.
And I was like, all right, yep, hopefully one of my friends or my family don't get killed today, or But see, what was I doing? I was automatically assuming that the end of the world was going to happen here. Yeah.
Exactly. So, okay, how about personalization? Thinking that everything people do or say is some kind of reaction to you.
Yeah. Check it out. You're not the center of the universe. I make sure nobody's hearing me say that because I'm sure I act like I am a lot, but really,
So-
you're not. The world's occupied by a lot of different people and a lot of other things out there.
Yeah, okay. And how about the shoulds?
Oh, you should do this, or you need to do that. Yeah.
Yeah.
You should probably not tell people that they should be doing something.
Okay, so so you have a list of ironclad rules about how you and other people should act. So in my book, again, the Pinata Theory, we are all stuffed differently.
Yes.
We're all completely different, right? And you're asking me about how do you. I always I'll read a little bit in the book. It's about transforming your pinata through conscious awareness. So your pinata is your person, okay? Okay, so let me launch this chapter with a longer, life-altering, sparkling pinata tip to add to your stuffing. So that's to download into yourself. This stuffing is pink, representing personal power and transformation. When you recognize that if you've opened your pinata, so you're opening up life experiences, negative life experience, triggering the spillage of painful stuffing. So you're dredging up those old negative thoughts, or somebody said something, something happened. You have to stop and recognize that the stuffing is old. It expired long ago. Use this stuffing as the launch pad to ignite your personal power. Compare this painful stuffing to what you do with expired food. You may put some of the food into the garbage, never to see it again. You can also compost spoiled fruits and vegetables. And this process results in nutrient-rich compost that is combined with soil to plant a seed to grow new life. So it's a launch pad to success. In essence, building upon the remnants of something that was spoiled to plant a seed for something that is beneficial, that serves us in a healthy way. In some cases, we can turn a loss into a gain. We can also manifest new healthy stuffing by using the old stuffing not as waste, but as a foundation to growth, because we've learned through the experience. And you must consciously, that means being in the now, not being in the past, not worrying about the future. What if, what's going to all go down today, everything that's going to go wrong. Spoiled or expired stuffing derived by past memories in the moment. Nip that stuffing in the bud, so to speak. Clearly state, this is the past, and I am not limited to, nor do I live in the past. Realize that this old stuffing does not benefit you and stills the joy of a glorious new day. Like a new flower that thrives in fresh soil, be thankful for the opportunity to grow. Be alive and accept the natural evolution of life, because we are flawed as human beings. We are not perfect. There's not one. So you have control over whether you choose to relive past events with the attached emotional consequences over and over again. Doing so is a choice in the mind to focus on it. Giving whatever it was life. You bring it back to life. There's no benefit to dwelling on the past, as it can never be changed, although at times we wish we could, but we need to let it go. Pain is inevitable in life. Suffering is a choice. Choosing to suffer is something we are capable of controlling. I'm not suggesting to simply forget, bury, or brush off what happened, especially very traumatic and painful things, right? So get the necessary counseling to help you heal from loss or painful situations, particularly in the cases of trauma. So a doctor, counselor can help you navigate through the stages of grieving and healing so that you can flourish again. So That's how I feel. And this is where, like, with your experience of your pain, right, and everything that you went through, and using that as a launch pad to helping people. And I hear that your program Fixed has a 95% success rate.
Amazingly, yes. And how fortunate, how lucky to be a part of an organization that can say that. Yeah, UC Berkeley, the School of Public Policy, they conducted a survey and a study on Fixed about a year ago, and yeah, that's what they came up with the numbers of the success rate of our program graduates through the Veteran Treatment Court, and then also the data for people calling in, or referrals, or through the internet, our website, Facebook. I mean, we would get crisis calls through like Facebook Messenger, and that all hours of the day or time. And there's 1-800 numbers like the suicide hotline. You have the National Suicide Hotline, and for our little niche, with the veterans, I mean, there's another 1-800 number for that. But we were finding that individuals, just through word of mouth and through hearing about us, hey, I'd rather talk to somebody else who might have been there, done that, and for a lot of our clients, we found that they've been asking us, how can we be a peer support counselor after graduating the program, right? So, and I was like, oh my God, what a great concept, right? Like, hey, we're turning clients into counselors, and then they're going off into their communities, right? And they're becoming mentors, coaches, teachers, fathers to maybe kids who don't have one, or mothers to kids who may not have, a mother. And it's trying to make things better, and it starts with bettering yourself first, right? So we've culminated that type of environment and promote it, foster it, and it's working. Fixed works. It's like I said, 97% of the time.
Well,
It doesn't. It's probably something that I did, but everybody else is doing a damn good job. So.
No, but you're doing an incredible job because you've taken your life experience, your pain, your suffering, your growth, everything, and you're sharing that to help others. And that I think that's the most beautiful human element.
Well, thank you. Yeah, you're right.
To be able to say, I want to help people, and every day I'm working for a higher power. I am serving God. I am going out and giving my hand and being that voice, to listen, to reflect, to talk to them, or to help them, get out of that state of mind. Because I remember I took, when I was with the police service, I took the suicide training, all about suicide.
Yeah.
And they talked about, people that survived suicide attempts, like jumping off of the Golden State Bridge, is it? I think.
Golden Gate Bridge, yeah. We have a big net now, so you have to run and really get after it if you're gonna do it.
Don't give anybody any ideas.
No,
I'm just kidding.
Joking.
No. That's good they put a net there, but this is the very sad part of it all. So of the people that jumped and they survived, after, when they asked them, how did you feel when you were falling? Like, what went through your mind? And what do you think they thought?
What the hell am I doing?
Exactly.
Oh my God, why did I do this?
It was like, why did I jump? Oh my God, I want to live. So that
how about
that millisecond, that second, and if you get an intervention, and I know that, like at the police service, where coworkers have made interventions with people that were suicidal, and if you see that somebody's in isolation, or they're suffering, or they've gone through something, isolation can be the worst thing, because you're basically shutting everybody out, right? Right? Talk about that, Jamie. So isolation. What does that do?
Well, isolation, and you're sitting there once again, hanging out with that person, that that person in your head, that, like, if you were sitting next to them, you would not want to be near them. The judgmental person in your head, the criticizing person in your head, the one who's telling you all day long that you're not meeting the standard that nobody put on you to meet, right? So this person who's constantly in your mind, and then isolation, you have no other influence coming in, telling you, hey, good job, man, or hey, what's up? Why are you looking good? Or whatever. It's that constant negative talk going on, and nothing else around you, your world starts collapsing, and you're looking through a straw, and even that's going to start closing in. Your world is just collapsing on top of you. And then by then, you may be so far down the rabbit hole that
Right.
maybe no coming back. Then you get that, well, screw it, black and white, all or nothing thinking, will take shape. And, if anybody knows anybody out there who, hey, I haven't heard from so-and-so in a while, I wonder what they're doing. I know they got laid off, right? Or maybe they're struggling right now because of the whole pandemic, or whatever it may be. Don't call them. Don't text them. Go to their house, knock on their door, wrap your arms around them, and hey, man, are you okay? Or hey, lady, are you all right? Like, I just haven't seen you in a while. Because that could change. That could be a game changer, right?
Yeah.
The human interaction, the physical, touch. We're animals, mammals that should be around, others, right? And very, what am I thinking here? we communicate, and we, want to be part of the greater good and part of the tribe. And it's also our responsibility, right, to reach out. It's not only on the person who may be struggling; it's our responsibility as well to look out for others.
Exactly.
So if you do know somebody like that, I'm going to put that on you, and I'm going to challenge you to, go through your list, go through the Rolodex in your mind, or maybe your Facebook friends. Hey, I'm going to talk to someone. No, but nobody's heard from someone in a while. Go to them, go seek them out, and let them know that they still matter. It's a human interaction that's going to fix that broken spirit that leads you down that path of disaster. Like you said, split second, right? And there's actually an individual who works with us now as one of our peer counselors who attempted suicide, and I'm going to get a little descriptive here, but he made this decision. This is about 9 years ago. Put a 38 and pull the trigger. Right? He has prosthetic eyes, and he's still alive. But yet he shot himself. But at that moment, he still wanted to die. He crawled to his room where the keys were in his car, found his way with no eyes to the garage, turned the car on, and passed out from the exhaust. Woke up again, and then realized he still wanted to live. Right? So then he called 911. Can you imagine showing up to that scene? You as a police officer back in the day when I was one, I couldn't even fathom that. Today he tells that story, right? And if you look at this guy going, oh my goodness, like that's the real deal. I mean, that you can't get more intense than that. To be able to talk about, well, I tried A, then I tried B. Oh my God, I want to live. And look what you did to yourself. You know what I mean? But to be able to tell that story is huge. I mean, he's changing lives. I guarantee it, just by telling people that.
Yeah, and I think too, when you get into that state of depression, that it's very important to get counseling. And people there's stigma attached to mental illness, and there shouldn't be, because we've been downloaded with so many things in our life that we're unhealthy. So
Yes.
Going through counseling is an investment, just like taking a course. But it's about life skills, life wellness, evolving, forgiving, healing, learning, putting it behind so we can live, because we only get one.
And I dumb it down to it's 2020. It's 2020. 2020. Like, we're so technologically advanced. I mean, there's so many resources. They've uncovered so many different solutions as far as thinking patterns in the brain and biological, and there's medication. There's so many resources out there for you to tap into. Like, you're not going to not find it, and it's worth it to look, and it's worth it to find it, because everything that every one of us does matters, and also what we don't do matters too. So who are you going to be? You know what I mean? We're depending on you. Whoever you make, everybody, everybody has something to contribute. And I believe that. I see it every day. And, I'm constantly beating that drum to let people know, yeah, you matter. I mean,
everybody matters, and we're all put on this earth for a purpose. And
absolutely.
What is going to be your legacy? What are you going to leave behind? And how many people have you helped? And I believe that is the most important thing in life, is how we respect and love and nurture other people, and and ourselves, because sometimes we can give to the point where we basically pull all our stuffing out and then we're empty. So it's important to have a balance. But
Absolutely.
and then also being in isolation, people, are using so
Yes.
drugs or alcohol.
Self-medication.
Yeah, so you add that to depression, and then you add drugs on top of it, and misuse, abuse, addiction. I I've seen people turn their lives completely around. Through the Teen Challenge program in Canada, I helped a young man get into the program, and he was near death. He weighed barely anything. He was committing crimes to stay alive, and he was abusing oxy. So today, years later, he went through the program, and thanks to people in Teen Challenge, that just like fixed organization, you've walked the walk. You're the best teachers on the planet because you
Absolutely.
know exactly what it feels like to go through that experience and how you transform your life. So they say, hey, you did it, I can do it too. So similar where you have people gone through the program that then become the mentors.
Yes.
And they're the best mentors because they'll know when
Oh, the best.
they know when you're BSing, and
Exactly.
because he said, no, I did that too before.
Come
But,
on. Yeah. I mean, yeah.
I
It's
tried
so
to pull
funny
that
how
wool over people's eyes, and it
I
just
did some of
doesn't
that
work.
today. I did some of
Yeah,
that today with the guy I was talking to. I was just kind of like, really?
yeah,
You're
yeah,
avoiding. You're this. You're that. And he's like, oh, you're right.
yeah. So you can see through all the fog, to get to the truth. It's like you hear these words coming out, but you're not seeing it. So through the actions and whatnot.
Absolutely.
So, and people always can come up with excuses, and like you say, there's so many services out there. Whether you want to talk to a counselor on a phone, through Zoom or whatever. Like you don't even, but it's good to get out and active and get the body moving, get the body.
Yeah, of course, that activation energy. I mean, get out there, and get that sun on your face, go for a walk. Oh, you mentioned excuse, but is it a reason or is it an excuse? What's going on with you? Is it a reason or is it an excuse?
Yeah.
Those lines blur really easily, but it's
Yeah.
just that self-talk, I'm telling you, it could bring
So
you down or lift you up.
yeah, and tell me like how from where the organization started, which was in Tracy, California, to where we
Yep.
are today in the U.S.
Yeah, so we just started here. Like I said, I literally, after I got myself fixed, right, for lack of a better word, I was like, I should start something else fixed. But I actually didn't know what I was doing whatsoever. I kind of do now, a little bit. But when I got the idea to found this, or to be the founder of this organization, I remember my son told me, he's like, Dad, he goes, you ever want to know anything? Go to YouTube. I'm like, oh, brilliant. So I go on YouTube and I type in how to start my own nonprofit, right? And I watched a 3-minute and 47-second webinar on YouTube, how to start a nonprofit. So that literally gave me the knowledge on how to do it. And then I did, and then boom, now I've got a nonprofit. Oh my God, what the hell do I do with it? So then I know I want to work with vets, so then I started creating their websites and we threw it out there, and a bunch of people started jumping on. They wanted they saw the changes that I had made due to all the help that I'd got, people who invested in me. And so they believed in it, and contributed, donated, and it's just so much support from your top echelon political figures to to your homeless in the streets going, hey, we love what Fix is doing. We get such great feedback from every walk of life, and then we helped out a individual in our local community who had both of his legs removed. He was a Vietnam vet. Well, he was getting out of the hospital, and he lived in a trailer that's completely condemned. I mean, the roof had collapsed, and I'd heard about it through a buddy of mine that worked for the local paper. So I thought, okay, now we have a mission. This is what we're going to do. So I started calling and guilting construction companies into help, and I started threatening, lying, cheating, do whatever I could to get this stuff, because we don't have any money. So people were jumping on board. Yeah, we'll help. We'll clean. We'll rebuild this. So by the time he got home, this happened within 2 days. So by the time he came home from the hospital, he's like, oh my God, he had a brand new deck. He had a brand new roof. He had air conditioners. They cleaned it. Yeah, he was just beside himself, And so they did a story on that in our
That's
local
beautiful.
media. Yeah, it was amazing. It's so cool to see it all come together, and then some people had read about that, the local judges for our county here, and they contacted me. Hey, we're doing a veteran treatment court. Would you want to help out and be a mentor? Heck yeah, that's exactly what we do. So of course I say yes to everything, and on the back end you have to create it, like the processes. So as we did, and now we're in a bunch of different counties out here, providing the mental health services and providing that peer support networks. We've done work in Las Vegas, Texas, Tennessee, Washington. And my intent for all this, since the beginning, was to give it away. So clients that we end up helping, like I said, the majority, probably 80%, want to become peer support counselors. Take this to your community, or wherever you're from, and launch it. It's yours. This is yours, not mine. It's yours.
Right.
What was put into me, I owe that. I believe I owe that back. I mean, I'm the sum of all their efforts, all these people who contributed, to me, and how fortunate I am, to be able, who's lucky enough to have that resource, have those resources, and we all have it. We do, there may be some kind of a right you must wrong. I mean, sorry, a wrong you must right in your life, and pay it forward, pay it back, pay it forward, and just keep trying to be a better person, be a better version of yourself every day. I believe that we can all do it. What one person can do, another can do, no doubt.
I 100% agree, Jamie. And, there's lots of love. Let's have an epidemic of love. Let's have an
That's what I'm saying.
epidemic of giving, sharing, lending a hand, because there's enough hands out there. And,
Yes.
and we can spend a lot of time on devices or looking at the TV, or we could be actively involved in our communities,
Yes.
through earth programs like picking up garbage, like you did that before. And, just there's so many things that we can volunteer. And if we feel like, oh, there's something missing in my life, or maybe just getting
Purpose.
out and being involved in a organization where you're cooking or preparing, helping, whatever you're doing, it just brings such joy to your heart, because you're helping other people. And I can't express enough what that does to your life. And it's not for you, but it just, when you look in someone's face and you see the reaction, or you turn their life around and they're thriving instead of suffering. And
Yes.
because of you, that happened, because their life is going to be better. And then when they have kids, then they're going to pass that on, to the next generation. So it's about, the more we spread the love,
Yes.
we spread the hope, we spread the tools, so it's fantastic what you're doing there, Jamie.
Oh, thank you very much. I
And,
greatly appreciate it.
yeah, you
I
are
couldn't do
wonderful.
anything without the people that put up with me.
Well, there
And
you
also,
go.
support our efforts for sure.
Yeah, and I notice you, like all the posts you do and all the events that you do, and your team are phenomenal. So it's important. You have a teamwork that everybody contributes to the success of the
Absolutely.
organization. So I always
And thank you for your support.
oh, you're welcome.
Yeah,
You're
no,
welcome.
we appreciate it.
But it's just like playing a game of baseball. Okay.
Yes.
So some people are good pitchers, back catchers, some do good at first base, some are best out in right field because they're good runners. So you take all the talents within the team, and they all take these talents and they put them together, and then it creates a successful outcome, right? So you take the best,
Unstoppable.
the
Yeah,
best attributes of each of the players on the team, and they contribute that. So, oh, you're really good at connecting people, or you're really good at organizing. And then you mentioned that, when I started, I looked on YouTube just to get this going. That's awesome. And that's how things happen. There's no such thing as perfect. You just keep your feet moving forward, and you have a passion in your heart. And when you're serving a higher power and you're moving forward, the universe is going to walk with you. Everything's going to line up perfectly. So don't worry about the if
Absolutely.
and what. I don't have, I do, and what about this, what about that? You just keep moving forward, and every day is a new day. And I believe, great things will happen. So how do people get a hold of you?
Okay, so you can start out with our website, which is www.fixedinc.org. Now, I don't know how to spell, so it's FIXD inc.org. You can start there, or you can check us out on Facebook. Once again, Fixed Inc. FIXDINC. I think we're on Instagram. I don't know. I don't handle that kind of stuff. I don't even know how to spell Instagram either. But like I said, you can go on to you can find us. We're out there. But like I said, or you can call our number, which is 209-207-9284. And everybody who's involved, so it'll go to the office, but actually it'll get slung to somebody's personal cell phone. So if you happen to be in a crisis right now in the immediate, you will talk to an actual human being. There's no dial one for this and two for that. You know, like you're going to talk to one of our counselors, and they're going to help you through whatever situation that you're in. And we will not stop until the problem is solved. So you're stuck with us. Sorry.
All right. Oh, okay. Can you give me that number slowly? Because I can't.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
And I just figured out how to respond to people on Facebook because I'm getting used to this. So
Okay.
Jake BN said, love you, brother Jaime Medina. Josh Wicker said, go Jamie. Gil said, great to see you, brother. And Dion said, from Canada, we're yelling at each other when we should be listening to understand.
Clean those ears, right? Yeah.
Yes, but it's always like my way's the right way and you don't see my, but I say, you know, like everybody has a different perspective. We have different, you know, emotions, feelings, life experiences. So you acknowledge and you say, how did this make you feel?
Yeah.
It made me feel this way. Okay, now how did it make me feel? So then you explain. And then how can we come to a happy medium? Even if you have a different perspective, you agree that, you know, we have different perspectives, but today's the only day I have. This is our life. Let's be happy. Are we going to waste seconds and minutes and hours arguing about stuff that doesn't matter? You know, in the grand scheme of life, does it really freaking matter? And we can just get lost in the ego. So we should be more connected to the spirit, sometimes letting things go, you know. You say, I'm sorry, apologies, that helps a lot. I'm sorry you feel this way. I'm sorry I did that to you. And even when those negative thoughts come in, I would, you know, say to your partner, and use this as like your theme word or your trigger word, whatever you want to call it. So those little negativities start creeping in, and then you start to think, well, you know, talking back, or this is this, and you should have did, and blah blah blah. Instead of doing that, you could say, happy thoughts. So let's just let it go. And let's just focus on the beauty that we have around us. Let's be grateful for the freedom we have. Let's be grateful for the earth, for the sunshine, for the water, for the food, all these things that we have. And just shift that energy into something else, and then we can do that in our mind every day with our thoughts. So what's that phone number? 209-207-9284. 9284. And what's the name of that line? The helpline?
Oh, that's the fixed line.
Okay, wait a minute. Hang on. Fixed main line.
Yeah. And you will talk to a human being when you call.
Okay. And that's for all U.S.
Anything. Yeah.
Veterans. Okay. And then you mentioned your website.
www.fixdinc.org. And when you log on, a little window will pop up. How can we help you? And that goes directly to us too. So I mean, we all get the alert. I mean, you will get somebody that will get in contact with you, and they will help you through whatever is going on.
Oh, so when you're on the website.
Yes.
Okay. Awesome. That sounds great. Well, stay safe.
Yes, ma'am.
Brother Jaime in California.
Thank you very much for having me on today.
Yeah, and thank you for doing an awesome job. And I hope everyone enjoyed the conversation this evening and picked up a few life tips to deal with life stuff. And I'll talk to you soon, Jaime. Thank you.
Great. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Okay. Take care, bud.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye. Okay. It takes a minute for the broadcast to